New video. It's a fun one again. It's against a very strong player. You look at the rating difference. Look at the title. This is a Grandmaster. Very strong player. You don't get to play a lot of Grandmasters, and when you do, you don't get to play a lot of 3000. So it was really nice to see that happening today. So 1e3. Here we go. We play my type of moves. I've been playing a lot of weird openings, fascinating openings, I believe, offbeat openings, but still being creative with openings, including playing my own opening that I created, the maneuver opening. So 1e3 is not so bad. Believe it or not, 1e3 could transpose to different openings, meaning you could play knight f3, b3, you could transpose to Zimzo Larsen, you could play English. It does give you some availability to play different openings. It's not just simply... You could also play the Cole system, which actually what happened during the game. It's not entirely a bad move, and in a bullet chess, anything could happen. So c6 is a move, d4, d6, knight f3, knight d7, knight b d2. This is all standard in terms of white, also for black. g6, e4, bishop g7, queen e2, castles, e5. Here takes, knight d5. I felt like e5 is not the best for me. It looks like black is very strong here. I mean, maybe I should just simply like castled here, and then rook e1. It just becomes a game. E4, e5 takes, e6. I feel like black could hold here, and he's likely better at this point, to be honest, because of knight f4. Yeah, knight f4. And I felt like here and takes an f7. Apparently the engine does not like my my choice. I think I had to take on d7, and then he sack your queen. He take multiple pieces for the queen, and I'm not sure how to play this. But it was my best chance, I think. But I took an f7. Looks like this is very strong for black. I mean, the rook is actually active. Open file, semi-open file, and the knight is sitting on f4. g2 is under attack. Not sure about the bishop. The queen is also being attacked. So all across the board here, it feels like, black is so strong. Queen f1, knight c5. Now, bishop c4 is interesting. I felt like here now, the more we could trade pieces for white, maybe I could equalize. The only thing that going for me in this game is actually the time difference. And if I were to trade some pieces, as I mentioned, maybe I may have some senses of my own. He played bishop e6, and I played g3. Now, that's the idea of playing g3 is simple. Trade down. I'm trying to ask my opponent questions. You going back, you trade down. So he took on c4, I took back on the queen. Now it's a tricky move, because I think here he has to play a force move. I think he had to play knight fe6. The reason is pretty simple. The knight goes back, defending the other knight. Both knights are being attacked, c5 and f4. One is being attacked by the queen on c5. The other one is attacked by the pawn. My opponent, to my surprise, he did that. Knight d5. So he defended one knight, but he forgot about the other knight. So obviously, queen takes c5. Piece is a piece. So e5, queen b3, b5, queen b3. e4 is a nice try. I don't think it's a bluff for me, but it's a try in bullet chess. I feel like this move does not work because I could simply take. The queen is sitting on b3, so it's covering, and that's the reason why I intentionally play queen b3 and not go for c6. It's simply so I could defend the knight on f3. So I could take on e4, which I did. Queen e8, knight g5, knight after g5. This move is pretty strong, actually, because it does defend the knight on e4. It kind of also attack right now the rook, but it's not really attacking it at this point because queen takes e4 is actually a move, and then the h1 is going to also be a problem. However, after he moved here, then I had to castle. And now after castling, I felt like I'm up a piece. All I have to do is develop my bishop, and things are really should be good for white, right? Rook f5, f3, and then h6. Inactive knight for now because I had to go back. I think knight h3, which I did. Bishop d4, king g2, queen f8, c3, bishop b6. Knight to f2. I felt like he could take on f3, but still I am still up. I'm able to defend. I have enough pieces here. So to my surprise, he played this, and I think now white is really winning because of the piece count, but also after knight g4, I felt like now things are really strong because the bishop could eventually go here. There's also knight takes h6, winning a rook if he's not really seeing it. So king h7 is played, and eventually now bishop takes h6. The bishop developed, attack the queen, and I'm also like up a piece. Everything is really good for white. Queen f7. I think I had this move and did not do it. Rook here, rook h5, and now I end up doing it. Takes, rook takes, queen f5. Now I played queen d1, and to my surprise, this is actually a blunder, of course, and I was able to spot it as soon as I moved the queen. You don't need to move the queen. All I have to do is move the bishop because the bishop is under attack. So if I play bishop d2, queen d3, queen d1, then you know everything is protected. But queen d1 is like, what is going on? Queen takes g5. Queen, even though he takes on the bishop, it's still winning because I'm still up in the material. I'm also up pawns, so it's easy for. There's also like the king is exposed. So it's still easy for white to win the game. Queen e4, queen f7, h4. The idea of h4 is h5 to create open lines to trade down as much as I can. So now king here, simply I could take. I could have actually took with the queen. It doesn't matter really. Like the four is a trade of queens. He took back. We end up taking knight here. Take on c6, knight b6, knight d4, knight c4. Rook check here. It's totally winning. f4, knight check, king f3, knight d1, take the bishop, and you play king e7. Now it's a race of a mouse, but positionally, white is completely winning. Rook e6, knight takes b2. I think there's no tricks here, but mainly because black throughout the game is down on the clock. If he's up on the clock, things would be maybe a little bit different. King g4, knight c4, king here. He was able to pick up the rook, but it's too much. There's too many pawns. So he take the knight here, push the pawn, push the other pawns. And he was counting for maybe stalemate, but unfortunately here he's just flagged after I queen. And it's easy for me to still like able to, to checkmate him on time. Good game. Perhaps I should have lost the game, but I was able to defend. I was able to defend bad position, and I was able to take the piece and convert. Yeah, obviously this is against a strong player, very strong, and you don't get to play a lot of GMs as I mentioned. So it was really nice to play him today, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned for more videos. Take care.